Here, sit down here.
Okay.
Hooah. Everyone, this is my nephew Luke. Say hi.
Hi.
And just for fun, I'm going to say a little joke. Now, you see, the video I'm doing is for a TV show called Doctor Who. Have you ever heard of that? Okay. Well, I have a little joke for you.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Doctor Who.
Exactly. I am a dork. And welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Doctor Who. You might notice that my surroundings are a bit different today, and that's because I'm in a secret location, and if I told you where I was, I'd have to kill you. Not really. Maybe. Only one way to find out. That was really awkward. Anyway, okay, today I'm going to be reviewing the episode Fear Her. Now, I was kind of wrong in my previous episode where I said that the previous episode was supposedly the last one, like, most hated, I guess, of this season. In fact, it is actually this episode that is apparently the most, not even divisive, it's just the one that really people tend to just not like in general. Whereas the previous episode was just more divisive overall. Now, as I said last time, I'm not going to really get into my thoughts on the episode overall until the end. So let's get right into my favorite aspects of this episode, and it actually had a lot of strong points in my opinion. Especially in the beginning and like about halfway through. Now, the first one is that the episode itself had a feeling, at least for me, of a classic Twilight Zone episode. It had a lot of aspects to it that I just really enjoyed, and it had a very creepy feel to it. Well, obviously it's Doctor Who, but just a very supernatural, strange, creepy feeling to it that, there were a lot of things that happened that I wasn't, I wouldn't have guessed, on first glance. So I just thought that they accomplished that really well in this episode. Now, the second best part about this episode was the initial shot, and this is actually in the intro before the credits actually roll. The first time we see the drawing that the little girl does, Chloe, it comes to life when the boy is absorbed into it or whatever. And when the picture actually moves, it was legitimately pretty friggin' terrifying, because I remember seeing it in the preview credits from the previous episode. I was just like, oh, okay, that's weird, but this time when you see it in context, it was really well done. And that was, to the best of my knowledge, the only time we actually see a picture move in live action or whatever. But even the rest of the time, when a picture, you'd see a picture go away for a few seconds, and then the camera would go back and it would be in a different position. That was really well done, and I honestly kind of prefer that over just the live action animation of the drawings. I really liked it, and it adds that creepiness factor to what I was talking about with the previous point where it had that Twilight Zone episode feel. Now, the third best part about this episode, I feel, were the family dynamics between Chloe and Trish, the mother and daughter. And just, it's a very unfortunate position that the characters were in, because the father had just died, and he was a very, from what I can tell, just a horrible, horrible person, abusive to his daughter, and to the mother, I can assume. And it was just the dynamics between them throughout the episode. And it just had that feeling of, I can only assume a family that has just gotten out of a horrible, horrible situation. They are essentially, finally free of the horrible person that they were with for so long in their life. And that leaves Chloe feeling all alone, because it's her mom just doesn't want to talk about it. She wants to leave it in the past, but, Chloe's just a kid. She can't. For a lot of kids, they just can't leave that kind of stuff behind, and it haunts them, and it haunts their dreams, which is something that's, emphasized throughout the episode. Again, as horrible of a situation as I know people go through it today, there are a lot of people that go through stuff like that. I just really appreciated the family dynamics and just the way they portrayed all of that. The fourth best part about this episode, I feel, was and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it, but the Isolus, the alien that takes over Chloe, and and the way it empathizes with her, because as I said before, Chloe is extremely lonely because of what she's been through before, and now her mom just doesn't want to talk about what's going on. So with the Isolus, being from a family of millions, I think the Doctor says like 3 or 4 million brothers and sisters flying through space, and now it's all alone. Just the way it empathizes with Chloe, and it says it loves her. I mean, it's really weird and creepy, but just the way that it empathizes with her, the way it loves her, it was really intriguing, and honestly, I really like that aspect of the episode. Now, the final, in my opinion, best part of this episode, it was just sort of a minor point overall, and it comes right at the end, but it's when the Doctor picks up the Olympic torch and takes it to takes it to where the Olympic flame will be. Yeah, but I really like that part, and it's just like, who wouldn't want to be the person that takes the torch and puts it to the Olympic flame, and that was just, it was just a really great scene, and just really enjoyable, and just to see the joyful look on the Doctor's face, it's always a good thing in this show, in my opinion. Now that I have covered the good parts, or what I feel were like some of the best parts of this episode, unlike previously, there was really one negative thing about this episode, and unfortunately, it's a major one. It's the way that the episode resolved itself. It felt like a lot of things were just in general kind of forced into the episode. Like some of the dialogue just felt really forced. They're having to find a source of empathy and love and I guess support for the alien in addition to having to find its pod, but in order to get the alien to leave Chloe and go to its ship and fly off to be with its brother and sisters. And so the announcer over the TV, I can't remember the exact phrase. It's like, that torch is not just a torch now. I don't know what accent that's supposed to be, I apologize. That torch is not just a torch now. It is a symbol of love and caring and triumph, and I don't know, it's just like, the dialogue just felt really forced. And I mean, there's some corny stuff on the news, especially when it comes to stuff like the Olympics, but even taking that into account, it just felt forced and corny. It just felt off. And then, as intriguing as, I didn't even mention this previously, but like the drawing of the dad that is like coming back to life, like essentially like hell in a closet, that was really terrifying, like legitimately terrifying. And then I'm actually torn on this part because the way that they resolve it is the like mother and daughter like sing this very calming song together, and it makes the like now apparently alive evil father go away by singing those songs to calm her down. But it just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that didn't make sense. It was just like, oh, okay, it's all suddenly this thing that wasn't real but now is, you get rid of it with happy feelings. And again, I don't know, it's like, in my mind, from what I could tell, like when the alien left, supposedly like all the things that had been done would be reversed. So why is it that something that didn't exist before is suddenly alive? Or I don't know, it's just, I feel like the father should have come out like the way he did, but maybe it should have happened earlier, like when the Isolus was still in Chloe, because that would have made more sense, because like the power's still there. I don't know, that was just really weird and confusing. And I mean, a lot of things in Doctor Who can be confusing, but it's just it's hard to describe. It just really left a strange feeling overall, and it didn't make sense for me. Again, it's just something that's really hard to get past. So unfortunately, it's just like that ending, the way everything resolved, just felt really lacking. And that's a bad thing. It's like, it doesn't, in my opinion, eliminate the positive aspects of the episode by far, but it's like almost that entire end just, it it just didn't work. It just didn't work for me. And right before I get into my final thoughts, I actually have a quote from this episode. And there were a few that I really liked, but there was one in particular, and it was right at the end of the episode. It's a conversation between the Doctor and Rose. The Doctor looks up at the sky and he says, "There's something in the air. There's something coming." Rose says, "What?" The Doctor says, "The storm's approaching." And of course, it's the last 2 episodes and it's a 2-parter. And I'm worried. I mean, I know that Rose leaves the show at some point, and I'm going to assume it happens some point in these 2 episodes. And I really like her as a character. I really do. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong that she, does stay on longer, but just that foreboding leading into the next 2 episodes, just that made this quote in particular stand out to me. And yeah, it's not like really pertaining to the episode itself overall, but it's something that really struck me hard. But yeah, now to get into my final thoughts of this episode. Now, like a lot of people said that they really don't like it overall, and I believe that some people said that one of the reasons they didn't like it is that it was sort of tacked on because it had just been announced that the Olympics would be going on in London in 2012. So, I guess I can see why that would bug some people. Just like, it felt like a rushed script, which I could agree with. But, it doesn't bother me that much. And it may just be because I'm American, it doesn't, it's in the past, like at least a few years in the past. So, I don't know, I guess that sort of timing just doesn't bother me as much. So, taking that aside, its definite biggest negatives would be the ending, the way everything was resolved. Oh, and actually one thing I forgot to mention, the way that they did the pictures later in the episode. Like, the initial animated drawing was really creepy, and then there was like a few scenes, again, where it's like, one picture changed from one to another, and it's like, and that was really creepy. But then, from then on, it's like, we didn't really see anything move. Like, it would be referenced, like, did that picture just move? We don't know. We didn't see it. And then there's, like, the picture of the Doctor that's, like, it stays exactly the same the entire time until right at the end and the Doctor is pointing at something. That's it. So it's like, come on. It's like, how much do you have to have in the budget to... Ow, I just hit my ring. How much money do you have to have in the budget to just do a bunch of crayon drawings? Not that hard. But, yeah, it's... so I'll tack that on to negatives to the episode. But otherwise, it's like the positive aspects of this episode, I feel like, gave it a really strong foundation. It just didn't follow through with the ending, and that's really probably one of the most unfortunate points of this episode, is the ending. But yeah, overall, I'd have to say this probably is... I'm not even actually going to say it's the weakest of the season. I feel like the previous episode overall was probably the weakest because it had a lot of significant issues. More minor than the ones I mentioned in this one, but I just feel like this episode had a stronger foundation. And plus, with the Doctor and Rose being there, it added to the enjoyment overall of the episode. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are going to have some things to say about that, and I really want to hear what you have to say about, my opinion. Is like, do you feel like between these 2 episodes, which, again, I feel are the weakest of the season so far, that I feel that this one, Fear Her, is overall stronger than Love and Monsters. Let me know what you think there. But yeah, I said way too many times. I really want to hear what you all have to say about that. And as always, tell me what some of your favorite parts of this episode were, if you had any. Some of your negatives, there may be some negatives that I didn't catch, or, just sort of like maybe mentioned as an aside. And also, let me know if there were any quotes in particular for this episode that you really liked, because, again, it's like my main quote was basically right at the end, and it didn't even have to do with that episode. It was foreshadowing for the upcoming episodes, I assume. So yeah, everyone, thank you very much for watching this episode of Discovering Doctor Who. I look forward to getting into the final 2-parter of Season 2. that will hopefully be coming up later this week. I'm going to try and get 2 episodes out this week, so wish me luck. And everyone, I will see you next time on the next Discovering Doctor Who. Hi, Allie. You want to be in the camera?
If I can't, hold on, wait.
Come, join us.
Hold on, wait.
I'll help.
I can't.
Allie, I'll help.
Oh,
Sissy.
no, I
Never
got
mind
it.
then. Never mind.
All right, you jump back over my lap. 1, 2, 3.
Wait, man, I haven't. Never mind.
Oh, you can leave it open. It's fine.
Okay.
And
What's your leg?
and
Nah,
this
you'll be
is
fine.
my sister Allie.
This is my niece, Allie. My brother and sister love each other.
Ow!
Oh, did I hurt you?
My arm, look, hurt my arm.
Sorry.
You scared me out to death.
I know, I'm sorry. Did you hear my joke?
It was something about
Knock, knock.
eggs.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Doctor.
Exactly.
Oh.
Because
All right.
And
Say,
Doctor Who.
say bye. Say bye to
Yeah.
everyone. Say bye.
bye.
We love you. Group hug.